set, Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss Dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your sick host, Rich Dotson. He's Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
He's Garrett Price.
How's it going?
You're watching a video? No, I'm not high. I wish I was high, but I'm not. I'm just sick. Got my Dynasty Nerds beanie hat on. Got my extra thick Dynasty Nerds hoodie on. I got some hot tea and honey. I got a thick blanket wrapping my pelvic region to fight this virus that came into my body uninvited. It was not a open invite for this one. It was unprovoked or not asked for. I did not open the door.
Oh, Rich, I'm glad you're fighting through this, man. You seem a little under the weather, but I think you're going to make it, right?
Drinking out of my Baker Mayfield Browns mug. It's always going to help me put my face when I look out at the mirror, at the TV. I see Baker smiling back at me. I miss you, babe. I miss you.
He's got so much heart. That's what's got to get you through this, Rich. Just remembering how much Baker fights for every single inch on the football field.
It's amazing how every sip of like hot tea and honey, you just feel like, oh man, maybe I'm better.
Yeah, I'm good. All of a sudden, I feel great.
2 seconds.
It's like
later,
it's your flu game. It's the Rich Dotson flu game.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna persevere.
Garrett's gonna
that'll carry you off
and carry me off above his shoulders because you're stronger than me, anyways. Go ahead, beefcake.
All right. Well, we'll allow Rich to rest his voice as much as he can. Although I know it's going to be killing him inside, and 10 minutes in, he won't be able to help himself, and we'll get a good rant. But I'll be taking over some of the hosting duties today to try to let him rest that voice as much as he can. But today we've got a fun show, and I'm kind of surprised we've never formally done this before. Rich and I were talking about this on Monday, and he was like, "Hey, for the shows, why don't we just do our top 12s now that we're kind of in the mid-season and for Dynasty?" And I was like, I know we do like our redraft top 12s before the season, but I don't know that we've ever actually done an in-season top 12s for our Dynasty rankings. Matt, do you recall a time that we've done this?
Not in season, man. It's always right before the season starts, and that's really about it. I don't feel like we ever really address it in season because there's always been so much injury talk and all that kind of stuff. We kind of handle that on different shows now. So I feel like it's afforded us a little bit of extra time to do a fun show like this mid-season.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. So we're gonna do both our quarterback top 12s and our running back top 12s in this episode. And remember, this is for Dynasty purposes, not the redraft like we do preseason. This is for Dynasty, our top 12s in season. And we'll kind of discuss and debate where we have guys and why we might have someone a little bit higher than somebody else or a little bit lower than somebody. But Rich, we'll let you kick it off, man. Why don't you give us your top 12? Just get it all out there right now. Give us your top 12. Then we'll let Matt go and I'll go. And then we'll kind of break them down 3 at a time like we did before.
Yeah, I want to these are Superflex tight end premium rankings, of course. And I wanted to do this show because like you're right, we've never done this before. And like I'd like to see where we are mid-season because a lot has changed already. And when you're making trades this year, or this time of the year, which is, the highest trade time of the year, like you want to do your best to acquire these cornerstone players. If you're a top 12 at your position, you're in a dynasty ranking set, you're like, that's a cornerstone player. And it's hard to lose those trades. And usually sometimes you got to slightly overpay. Sometimes you got to find value, but so in order, I would call this a tier for me too. My first 3, I have it Jayden Daniels, Josh Allen, Drake Maye as my first 3. So that's a tier for me by itself. And I do have Drake Maye as my 3rd overall player in Superflex tight end premium. After that, I have another tier, and this is a little bit longer. It goes Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Pat Mahomes, Jordan Love, and Jaxson Dart as my QB8. That's a next tier for me. And then after that, to finish it off with 9, 10, 11 through 12, another tier, and one guy, I'm real curious why I have him here. I might have to lower him, but it's Caleb Williams, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and Baker Mayfield.
All right, there's a name in there that I don't remember hearing that I'm kind of surprised about, Rich.
What name is it?
Did you say Jaxson Dart, and did I just miss it?
Yeah, he's my quarterback 8. He's right behind Jordan.
Oh, okay, okay.
He's in that same tier for me, as pretty much like the Justin Herbert, Mahomes, Jordan Love, Lamar Jackson. Like I can go either way.
Okay, my bad. I just missed it.
I could use Jaxson Dart over any of those quarterbacks and be a satisfied customer.
Okay. All right, Matt, you want to give us your top 12 quarterbacks?
Sure. So I am going to start, and I guess my first tier probably is about 5 players. I really do like all these guys for different reasons, obviously. But Josh Allen, Jayden Daniels, actually, those might just be the top tier for me. Josh Allen, Jayden Daniels, that might just be the top. And then after that, it's Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, Drake Maye. Drake Maye has gone up significantly in my rankings. Obviously, there's still room for him to go up, him being only 23 years old. But he's already taken a pretty big jump. And I'm, in general, a little bit more conservative with moving guys up than especially Rich. So to have him at 5 at this point for me, it's been a lot of movement for me. And I almost don't feel comfortable, even though he's totally playing amazing and deserves it. It's just such a small sample for me. What'd you say?
You going commando into those pants. Look at you.
Just a little uncomfortable, Rich. But a little risque. But at 6, I still have Joe Burrow there. I know that he's been awfully injury riddled, but at 28 years old, this could still get turned around, and I feel like he still has a lot of value in superflex tight end premiums or just regular superflex leagues. So I'm at 6. At 7, Jalen Hurts. 8, Jordan Love. 9, Justin Herbert. 10, my man Bo Nix. I couldn't have a top 12 without Bo Nix being in it. 11, I also have Caleb Williams, and I also was, when we were like loading up to go for this show, I'm like, do I keep Caleb Williams on this list? So he was my question mark as well, why I still kind of have him in my top 12. So he's a guy that definitely might come sliding down a little bit. But at 12, I still have Brock Purdy. I know another guy that's injured this year, but Brock Purdy, when he plays, is always like in the top 5, type 6 type of guy. So I'm gonna keep him in my top 12. He's only 25 years old.
Yeah, right behind Baker Mayfield for me, Brock Purdy.
And Baker Mayfield's right behind at number 13 for me. So he just missed the list.
All right. I have some differences. Similar, but some differences here. So I have kind of a tier of 4 guys I think are my top tier. I have Josh Allen, Jayden Daniels. I have Drake Maye at 3 as well, Rich. So we're tied there. And then, which I know is not a surprise to everybody. I've been really high on him. Lamar Jackson, then at 4. So that's kind of my first tier. And Lamar's tricky. When he's on the field, he's just so good. But the missed time is what's tricky with him. But I have that's kind of my top tier there. Then Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert at 6. At 7, I have Pat Mahomes. At 8, so I think I'm the highest here. I have Baker at 8 overall for me. So I think I'm the highest there. I have Jaxson Dart at 9. Then I have Joe Burrow at 10. So I think that then puts me the lowest on Burrow overall. And we'll get to that in a bit when we go through kind of this grouping here. And then at 11, I have Jordan Love. And Matt, you're going to love this. At 12, I got Bo Nix.
Yeah.
So I got Nix in, and Caleb did not make it for me inside
totally
of my
fair.
top 12.
Totally fair.
All right, so let's go through our top 3s. We all had Jayden Daniels and Josh Allen as 1 or 2, so I don't think there's really a ton to talk about there. When it gets to 3 is where it gets a little different for us. Rich, you and I, we fully jumped the ship. We're all in. We have Drake Maye at 3. Matt, you said you have him at 5, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
And is it simply just this is a matter of process for me? You know, I liked what I saw last year, but I didn't love it. So for you, it's really only, 8 games is really what it is, because last year you were more or less neutral on him.
Yeah, that is about it. I mean, there were a couple questions. I had one question mark about Drake Maye coming in. And I thought he had kind of a long delivery. I wasn't sure if he's going to be able to get rid of the ball in time and all that kind of stuff coming into the NFL. He's definitely gotten past that. Everything's fine. His mechanics aren't an issue at all at this level. So there, I don't really have an issue, but like you said, it wasn't overwhelming last year. It obviously finished better than it started. And, we're 8 games in with a new coordinator, and we haven't seen, I don't think, this whole thing solidify there yet. He's looked amazing. And like I said, he's already jumped in my rankings quite a bit. I'm just not ready to put him at 3, even though his play right now he's QB2 overall for fantasy purposes, would say that, he belongs up a little bit higher. My process is definitely a little slower to move guys in dynasty rankings. Right now, I mean, he's a guy I'd actively want to go out and get because he's a 23. He just turned 23 a month ago, so he's super young, especially compared to guys like Patrick Mahomes, who's 30, Lamar Jackson, 28 with an injury history, Josh Allen, 29. But to me, at the quarterback position, that's not old. None of those guys are old, even though they're much older. None of those guys are old, and they've been doing it for so long that they have a track record. I know exactly what to expect year in and year out. And Drake Maye, we've seen it for 8 games. I don't know what this is going to look like next year if some of his pieces change, if something else change. You know what I mean? Like, so, we've seen other guys pop up and then kind of go away. CJ Stroud's probably the most recent guy who was this dynasty hotness. He never performed to this level, but he still had a dynasty, a big bump in his value, and then ended up kind of bottoming out quite a bit.
Well,
I don't
Jayden Daniels
foresee
did too, only he maintained it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't foresee that happening with a guy like Drake Maye, but I'm a slow climber instead of this like jumping way up the cliff.
It makes sense to me. And Rich, I'm wondering if you're in the same boat. Cause Matt, you mentioned, we'll see if things change or whatnot. If things change, it's probably only going to be for the better. Realistically right now, he still has one of the probably worst receiving cores in football. Diggs is at the end of his career, and he shows a little bit here and there, and he's okay. So really, the main guy's been Booty, and that's not a traditional wide receiver 1 in most offenses. He's a 2 at best, if not a 3 in a lot of offenses. So I think for me, if they are able to add a legitimate wide receiver 1, they can add a T Higgins, or they draft a guy that they really love that ends up being, solid, like we're getting out of Tet McMillan and guys like that, like, out of Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate or Makai Lemon or, one of these guys in this class. If we get that, we're going to be in great shape. And, the other thing they could do is they could add to this offensive line. Will Campbell, other than having to play against Myles Garrett, which is not good for anybody, has been really, really good as a rookie. And so I don't see, as far as like contracts going away and things like that, like over the next 2 or 3 years, it seems like they're pretty insulated with what they have and only with opportunities to get better.
Yeah, I have a lot of that old Jordan Love when I watched Jordan Love step up the second half of his season with Drake Maye. And you guys hit the nail on the head on a lot of it. Matt, with his age, just turned 23. Garrett, like everything's only going to get better there. I will disagree with you about Stephon Diggs just being okay. I think he's been a solid wide receiver too when healthy. His target share has been pretty healthy too. He's probably really cheap veteran to go trade for. If you can get him for dirt cheap on your roster, definitely for the rest of the season. But I was real worried about Drake Maye coming this season. And I think I said in the podcast before the season, like Drake Maye, I had him a lot lower because there was things I had concerns with going into the year, and he cleaned them all up, man. I'm about as confident in Drake Maye as like Chauncey Billups as like one of his poker games. So like for me to be my 3rd overall player in that tier with Jayden Daniels and Josh Allen, like I can't argue that. He's 2 years younger pretty much than Jayden Daniels. He's 8 years younger, a little over 8 years younger than Josh Allen. And, at quarterback, when you get a player like this, who's the 4th overall scorer right now in all fantasy and PPR leagues, only behind McCaffrey, Taylor, and Mahomes, like that is literally an invaluable cornerstone. Like you can't really, like there's nothing you're going to do out easily. For somebody who's contending, it makes sense if somebody wants to trade for Josh Allen. That makes sense, because he's more of like a consistent, guaranteed player for a contending team. But like I can go either way. I would still take Josh Allen, Jayden Daniels today ahead of him, but like that longevity does weigh a lot in my rankings. Like to be able to get a quarterback that's a high level quarterback, to be able to get a guy like Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson when they're 23 years old, it's an invaluable piece. So those are when you say championship caliber players, like doesn't get higher than that. They're the highest scoring fantasy players year in and year out. They're going to give you the best odds. You'll see years, if you played back in the day, you remember like there's years Peyton Manning walked you into the playoffs, right? Like it wasn't necessarily like receivers and running backs at the time. It was like Peyton Manning. If you had Peyton Manning, he would literally walk you into the playoffs. And, Josh Allen's one of those players. Like if you have Josh Allen, like you have a really good chance to win games because they single-handedly win you games. So I have Lamar Jackson right behind them at 4, but like, again, long-term, I just feel really comfortable with Drake Maye and everything I've seen from him right now. He gets better. It feels like every single week, it looks like he gets better. The
one thing I will add to, I guess, what I was talking about, it kind of came to my head while you were talking, Rich, is at some point it's going to go bad for Drake Maye because it does. Inevitably there'll be a patch where a quarterback has to fight through it. We haven't really seen that yet with Drake Maye. He's so young and so green that there'll be an injury that he has to kind of fight through and play through. How does he do that? I want to see how he handles that situation, if he's able to play through that, if he's able to come back from maybe something that's a little bit more, 4 or 5 week injury. How does he come back from that kind of stuff? Those are all things we don't know yet. They're unknowns. We've seen Josh Allen fight through injuries. We've seen Pat Mahomes play through injuries and come back and be excellent. So that's kind of another reason why I have these guys still ahead of them, even though they're older. It's just more of a track record. There's more that we can hang our hat on as far as what we know we're going to get from these guys week in and week out.
Sure. I do remember a story from draft weekend that in one side of my brain, I'm like, that is stupid. Please don't do that. You're about to get drafted. But on the other side, I'm like, I love like the competitive attitude of this dude. They were talking about the day before getting drafted, he's playing 3-on-3 basketball with like his brothers and like, and they play for keeps. Like it's not cute. Like they're playing hard. And like, he's talking about like how he's getting pushed to the ground to try to get like and ones to win the game and stuff like that. And I'm like, I hate that from a like be smart about your career perspective. But as far as like a guy that like just wants to win, like I love hearing that kind of stuff. So we'll see how that plays out.
If I want to even out the scales on what Matt said, I'll say it for 2 things. One, by doing that's how you missed a boat on drafting Drake Maye in a startup. Like that's how you miss out on those kind of players and are impossible to get. On the other side of that, at least like if you're going to go get him, like if you already didn't draft him, right? Like this is for me for a startup. These rankings as well as how I kind of overall look at these. It's not going to be cheaper to go buy him if you wait a year. You know what I mean? Like he's not going down in value. I think if you have Drake Maye, you value him up there pretty highly. So I don't think that's really.
I mean, how high was Burrow in your rankings a year ago? And that's the counter argument, right? I mean, like Burrow was probably in your top 5, and where do you have him now, Rich? Down at 11. He just squeaked into your top 12, right?
And he just moved down. Like you said, he's 28, but he's closer to 29. He'll be 29 in 2 months. And like, would it take for Burrow to get that low? And he's still pretty high, nonetheless. I still have Burrow, I think, as my 35th overall player, right? It just, it comes down to the track record and what I can see. Drake Maye, you're right, he hasn't fought through anything yet, but like hopefully, he doesn't ever have to fight through anything. But like Joe Burrow has been hurt every other year, like significantly every other year. So like that, and it's all been different injuries, but like that's going to move it down. Yeah, it's Ja'Marr Chase. Like, listen, until they fix that offensive line, it's gonna be hard for me to move Burrow up. Like that offensive line is absolutely atrocious. So for Bernie Kosar, used to say this all the time back in the day here in Cleveland. He's like, man, older you get, the injuries don't lighten up. Like once you start getting hurt, like that's it. You're hurt. You have to get surgery, something like that. Like surgeries are major. Like there's no instance of anywhere what surgery you're getting. They're cutting you open and sewing you back together. There's no easy surgery for the most part.
No, the only minor surgery is one that's not happening to you. That's what, you know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah. Maybe your wisdom teeth pulled out, like a oral surgery, maybe, and that comes with risk. But like, yeah, there's no like, and he's had a lot, man. Like it, but then you have a guy like Travis Kelce had some surgeries early on. He fell through, he stayed the path. Frank Gore, had 2 ACL injuries early in his career, stayed the path. So again, I mean, for Burrow, just another weird injury, because
just hope it's not Andrew Luck.
Line.
Just hope it's not Andrew Luck all over again.
Yeah, and when he's in, he's in. When he's in, he's in. I don't think he'll go anywhere. I think he's a very competitive dude. but like he's definitely the most pliable player that can go up way higher. You know what I mean? And that's what I was saying. Like, ooh, Caleb Williams. Like, but I don't think I'd take Caleb Williams ahead of Joe Burrow. Like I have him ahead of there. Like I would probably have just my rankings. I wouldn't do that. And you're right. Like the only other person ahead of him that I would like even consider is like Jalen Hurts is probably, but I'd still take Hurts ahead of him. But like I'm easily taking Jaxson Dart ahead of him. I'm taking Jordan Love ahead of him. Mahomes, Herbert, like I am still taking those guys ahead of them just because I want to have, if you miss on a player like that, set your team back. So here's what I look at. If I draft Joe Burrow, like I have to like draft 3 quarterbacks in my startup. Like it automatically like takes a roster spot away.
100%.
Draft another quarterback.
All right, let's go to 4, 5, 6. So I had it Lamar, Jalen, and then Justin Herbert. Matt, what did you have at 4, 5, 6?
4, 5, 6. I had Mahomes, Maye, and then Burrow. So I was definitely the highest on Burrow because he really hasn't moved that much for me. I know the injury is there, but we can get
Rich,
into
what
it.
did you have at 4, 5, 6?
Yeah, Matt, and I wouldn't argue. Like somebody wants to take Burrow, like he's so good. Like I'm not gonna argue. It's just that's where I feel comfortable taking him. I have 4 Lamar Jackson. He's my 4th overall player too, so he's still in that same tier. No, he's not in that same tier, but he's right. He's my 4th overall player. They got Justin Herbert, Pat Mahomes.
Okay, and then Matt, did you say Jalen Hurts was in your 4, 5, 6 or no?
No, he just missed. He's in my 7.
Okay, so you guys are both a tad bit low. I'm curious to see, Rich, I know overall you've tended not to be a big Jalen Hurts guy. I'm curious why you guys are a little bit lower on him. He's still the youngest of a lot of these guys, same age, 5 months younger than Justin Herbert, younger than Mahomes, younger than Lamar, younger than a lot of those guys. And he's just putting up another solid season. So I'm curious, like, what kind of lowers him for you guys?
So let me go first on this because this has always kind of been in the back of my mind, at least since all this talk started, of banning the tush push, right? I think a lot of his value really is derived from that play, his ability to run that and be an effective kind of goal line back is very much so tied to his value. I think we see him in glimpses and little flashes be a very solid passer. But without that play, what is he? And I think it doesn't take the Dionne Warwick psychic network to figure out that they're going to figure out a way this offseason to get rid of that play. This is it. You know what I mean? They're already showing slow motion replays of the guards firing off early every single play. People are up in arms about, they try to eliminate the push from behind. It's still, not probably being officiated the way people who wrote the rules wanted it to be officiated. I have a feeling this is it. This is the last hurrah for the tush push in general. They're going to ban this play. And without that, I just don't think he has the same value.
And this week was a big negative on that too, Matt, when the refs blew the play dead like way too early and the defense took the ball out of his hands. Like Dable had such a strong argument there. They blew that play dead way too early. So like, what are you going to do? Just wait till he gets the first down, then blow it dead right away? Like, I mean, I guess that's not really fair.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, Rich, right? So I think they're trying to blow the whistle early because it's like it's a play where if you let it go, there's going to be a second surge. They're going to get 4 or 5 yards, and they don't want this play in the game. You know what I mean? So the way you get rid of it is to officiate it with a quick whistle. So that first go, boop, the whistle blows, and they only got a half a yard. You know what I mean? And then eventually it's no longer as useful, so they stop using it and it just goes away. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think it's going to happen. So they're just going to have to ban it.
Yeah, and for me, Garrett, it's just really, Matt makes a really strong point there too. It's just I've had the same argument for Jalen Hurts since he broke out, and he's been a really good quarterback. Like he's still my 33rd overall player. It's just I have a hard time making Jalen Hurts my cornerstone player because I don't. That's where you got to take him, right? You got to take him as your cornerstone player, and I don't believe in him like super long term. Like if he's there in the 3rd round, like I could kind of see it, but like. There's some running backs I would rather just have over him, other quarterbacks. And, and I mentioned a guy like Jaxson Dart, who I have ahead of him. I have Jaxson Dart as my 19th overall player and Jalen Hurts at 33rd. I mean, since Jaxson Dart has come into the league, since he started week 4, him and Jalen Hurts both have the exact same amount of points. They're both averaging 22.9 points per game, exact amount of points to the point decimal in PPR leagues. Like, And again, like we're kind of going back to the Drake Maye, like, man, like how much better is a road ahead for Jaxson Dart. And it's like, and Jaxson Dart doesn't win fluky, right? Like, it's not like he's out there winning. He navigates the pocket so well. He knows when to rush. He's got a really good arm. Like, listen, man, sometimes with these guys, like you see it, you got to be in, because again, you don't want to miss the boat. So for me, Jaxson Dart, somebody I would easily, tear down the Jalen Hurts from Jalen Hurts. And
I get tearing down, but if he's ahead in the rankings, it's not. You know what I'm saying?
I know I'm an outlier here, though, too. So when I say tear down, that's for the audience. Like, I'm not. Like, I would draft Jaxson Dart ahead of him. That's why I have him ranked ahead of him. But, like, I can see other people, it'd be smart for them to tear down and get so much, again, get younger. Like, you're getting 5 years younger, which isn't massive, from a quarterback standpoint. But, you bring Malik Neighbors back next year. Hopefully Cam Scatterbo comes back. And I think they're going to it's clear as day. They've been building that defensive line and that defense for New York. Like, they're going to build on offense for Jaxson Dart. He's going to get some weapons around him. Sure. I think he's going to really another solid receiver. You move Wan'Dale Robinson into the slot. So, I'm talking Jaxson Dart, but like for me, Jalen Hurts, it just comes down to confidence, like long term. Like you said, Matt, like what happens when like he can't do the tush push? Like how long can he do the tush push for? Like you say, they don't ban it. Like how long is that going for? Like, is he like, what worries me is like, and again, I don't think Jalen Hurts is like washed anytime soon, but like I could see him being like that 30-year-old when he turns 30, like a still solid quarterback, like a quarterback, 13 to 16. Like I honestly believe like closer to 16, possibly around there as he gets a little bit older. AJ Brown kind of fades out of that offense a little bit. I see him kind of pulling back. And like for me, like I like the chance of having a quarterback that can give me the 35 years old confidently, right? Like I want that Pat, like I think we all agree Pat Mahomes is going to play easily until he's like 36, 37 if he wants to, 38 years old. So like that long, again, it kind of goes back to that Drake Maye thing. Like it's the longevity. Like when we play Dynasty and we rank players, like, which is a real hard thing to do. And it's easy to do tiers. Like age is such a factor. It factors in, and nobody can deny it. It factors in every single trade you try to make, right? Like it's why draft picks are so valuable. It's why like when these rookies go off, like there were so many picks. Like go back to Kyle Pitts his rookie year, like what you could have got for Kyle Pitts, what you could have got for Brock Bowers last year, and some of these, like obviously like Justin Jefferson, that's validated. But these guys, like that longevity holds so much weight, and that's how you build a true dynasty, how you win multiple championships. We're not trying to win one, that's our goal, but like the game's called Dynasty. Like we want to win, Matt, you've done it. We want to rip off 2-3 championships. Like that's all the glory. You're telling your grandkids about that one. Like, oh yeah, but it's got 3 years in a row in 2006 to 2009. Nobody else has ever done it in the league. It's just me. I'm kind of a legend. Check your grandpa's name.
I'll say this in defense of Jalen Hurts, because I do have him the highest. I have him at 5th. Like I said, he is still fairly young compared to, he's same age or younger than a lot of these guys that are in this range. And when you look at the tush push, yeah, I do hear that. But only 3 of his touchdowns have actually been on the tush push this year. So it's not like it's been a huge part of his game. It's obviously it's a good part, but and maybe he would get it on a normal sneak on 1 or 2 of those. Maybe he wouldn't, who knows? Quarterbacks still do normal sneaks without the tush push as well. And he's also thrown for 15 touchdown passes in his 8 games this year. So he's on pace to be over 30 touchdown passes, which is a really good number. That's going to put you up in that upper echelon. So, if this is a guy that I still think can throw 30 plus touchdowns, we saw, Saquon kind of take a little bit of a step back this year. So I don't think that's the forever plan as Saquon. But you still have a young-ish guy in Devonta Smith, and, we'll see about AJ Brown. But I think for right now, I think the next 2 to 3 years, which is where I try to focus a lot of my energy in Dynasty, is in those 2 to 3 year pockets, those 2 or 3 year windows. Like I think Jalen Hurts is still going to be a top 5-ish quarterback.
Yeah, and that's where I don't view quarterbacks in that 2 to 3. That's the only position in Superflex I don't in one QB for sure. In Superflex, I do not view 2 to 3 year window. I need a cornerstone player in a startup.
One more thing I'll say about the tush push, and then I'm done saying that phrase for the day. It not only his touchdowns and all that it's maintaining drives and keeping those long drives going. How many times do they do that play per drive and just keep a drive going that otherwise would stall? And that's what I'm worried about, is he's forced to throw the ball more. Is he able to kind of do it? I've seen glimpses that say yes, and then other times when it's like he gets in a funk and things look bad, and if he can't fall back on that tush push to maintain drives, they might just have a really bad afternoon, a bad day at the office, so to speak. And then all of a sudden you're getting this yo-yo kind of production out of a guy. And then how do you start him confidently? You know what I mean? And that's my worry when I see a guy like that, and that it has become so dependent on this play that I feel like they are trying to phase out. I mean, I was listening to Bill Polian this morning, who's, obviously an ex-GM, but part of the competition committee, all this kind of stuff. And basically he was like, hey, listen, this is a play that was banned for like 100 years. You weren't allowed to do this kind of stuff. And then he's like, admittedly, I was part of this. He's like, I kind of fell asleep at the wheel when this kind of got brought in. And he basically intimated that this is going away. You know what I mean? Like we fell asleep at the wheel. This is not a football play, was said several times. And for a guy that's part of the competition committee to say that kind of stuff, or a former part of the competition committee, I don't know if he's active anymore. He's talking to the guys that are active. You know what I mean? That's kind of backdoor information that we're hearing kind of over the air. Those are the things that kind of that pique my interest and really grab my attention, and I don't like that for Jalen Hurts' value.
All right, let's get into quarterbacks 7 through 9 here. I had it: Pat Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, Jaxson Dart. I'm pretty sure I was the highest on Baker. Matt, where did you end up having him, or did he just miss for you?
Baker just missed for me. Yeah, he was at 13. But in reality, I think, when I was looking at him, Caleb Williams wouldn't be in, so he would be my number 12. Yeah.
Okay. Rich, where was Baker for you?
Yeah, and I think I would move Baker's at number 12. I think I'd move Baker up to 11 and move Brock Purdy ahead of Caleb Williams as well. So, but I mean, we like Jordan Love. I think the only two guys we really like, we've been pretty common. Like, I think Baker's pretty self-explanatory for where he is.
I do want to say one quick thing on him. The reason I have him so high is there's only a year and a half difference between him and Joe Burrow. So it's not like there's this like massive age gap, and Baker just plays like he just always plays, and they put up in the similar ballpark of numbers. So for me, that's why I'm more confident having Baker Mayfield there and I have Joe Burrow at 10. So that's kind of the explanation for me on that one, because that's probably the most out of line with consensus.
Yeah, and again, I won't argue it. Like, I have those guys like all in a row too. So obviously, I think I did it overall. Like, the skill position players is where some of those skill positions probably squeeze in, and I just probably don't feel that much difference getting Baker or Brock Purdy. I think is where it's going to lie for me. You know what I mean? Like,
okay,
I think that's the biggest thing when you look. Again, I want to say that like tiers is a big thing, right? Like, I'm okay with missing on Baker. Hope I get him and take that skill position player, like where they're going to go, essentially like that third round, right away there, maybe fourth round, and then come back if I miss. I'm totally comfortable getting a Brock Purdy, a Bo Nix, someone along those lines. So
sure,
that's why.
Sure. Anybody else in the 7 through 9? A lot of those guys we kind of already talked about. Yeah. We touched a lot on Joe Burrow. We talked about Jaxson Dart earlier.
Jordan Love the highest as my QB7, 19th overall. I just really love his offense. I love that he has so many young weapons around him. He's such a good passer of the football who is mobile.
He is.
Like, again, he's going to be 27 years old. So like that kind of factors in too. Like, again, if I look at long term, Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts, like I do feel more confident in Jordan Love giving me big games, like long term, like into their 30s, just a little bit more confident. And it's all, again, and people I'm splitting hairs here. Like, these are all good quarterbacks, but like that's why for me, for Jordan Love, like I think Matt LaFleur is not going anywhere. All his receivers around him are young, and I think they've shown, and having Tucker Kraft, who's not going to go anywhere ever as a number one receiver, we've shown what he's done is he's shown that he can win. And it doesn't matter. Like, you just need receivers that can run their offense, right? Because they have 5 different receivers that you don't know who to start. So it's like they've already shown that, hey, this offense works with Jordan Love, and it doesn't matter who's out there. Because if you can't run it, guess what? We'll draft another receiver in the first round, Matthew Golden. We'll extend Christian Watson. We'll get him his guys, and they're confident in doing that. They've done such a good job out there in Green Bay. And again, who can argue with the Green Bay history of quarterbacks? They've only had 3 quarterbacks going back to the 80s.
Buddy, nobody can argue with that. Where did you have Dart, Matt?
Dart for me is at 14, and he's another young guy that has come up my ranks quite a bit. So it's not that I don't believe in him. He has just had such. I mean, we're talking about. I was talking about Drake Maye having a small sample size. Like Jaxson Dart for me is like you got to get out the microscope to see this guy's sample size. It's ridiculous. So I love what I've seen out of him. He's creeping up, and he's jumped over guys like Kyler Murray. I mean, he's above CJ Stroud for me right now. So it's not that he isn't making progress in my rankings. It's just that he's not in my top 12 yet.
Okay. All right, let's go to our 10 through 12. So for me, I already mentioned Joe Burrow. Then I have Jordan Love, who you were talking about, Rich, and then Bo Nix. And Matt, I know you and I both had Bo Nix inside the top 12. Rich, where did he end up for you?
He just misses. He just misses. Again, he just falls in that category. Like he's old. He's as old as Brock Purdy, and I've just seen Brock Purdy, run an offense, at a higher level than Bo Nix. He's still again same tier. Not arguing where you guys have Bo Nix whatsoever, but he's gonna be 26 here by the time the season's over. So like he's still in that like age range of like the Baker Mayfields, the Joe Burrows, the Brock Purdys, and like. And listen, man, with Troy Franklin this week and Cortland Sutton, and they're really trying to get a tight end and RJ Harvey, like I probably do have Bo Nix too low, but I think it's him being 26 compared to some of the other guys and the longevity of like the more proof and to put in a guaranteed contract extension. It's not like Bo Nix is going anywhere.
He's currently tied right now points per game with Daniel Jones at quarterback 7. So 20.8 points per game. Bo Nix.
I'm Herbert by 1 point.
Yeah. Right. So he's legit. I mean, that's why. I mean, I have him at 10. And that feels a little low. But to your point, Rich, he is in his second year. He's 26 years old. I think this is kind of where he's gonna be until maybe a couple of guys in my ranks go down. You know what I mean? And as they age out, or maybe if Joe Burrow picks up another injury, he'll start sliding down. If the tush push gets banned next year, maybe Jalen Hurts starts sliding down, and Jordan Love and Justin Herbert and Bo Nix goes up. And that's kind of the natural process of him kind of climbing my ranks.
Yeah, I think the more it sits here with me, I think you guys are right. I think I'm gonna move Bo Nix probably into my top 12 as a move. I don't think I won't move my top third. I'm probably gonna put him 13th overall, right behind Baker. But I think I do. Again, if you put a gun to my head, I got to take Bo Nix or Caleb Williams. Like I'm probably taking Bo Nix. The more I think about it right now, so I think I am going to move him ahead of that. Obviously, I'm moving Brock Purdy up, so I'll move Caleb Williams down to right behind Bo Nix, and he'll be in the same range as JJ McCarthy for me. And I'm gonna move Brock Purdy, and I'm gonna move Brock Purdy into the top 12. So. Okay.
Real quick before we move on and wrap up, because we're going to wrap up and get into running backs here. But how much more does a guy like Daniel Jones have to do to start to be considered inside the top 12? I currently have him as my quarterback 16, and I just couldn't figure out a way to get him any higher than that. Like it just felt like way too high to get him any higher than that. But how much longer would he have to do this? Is it all season? Is it multiple seasons? Like what would he have to do?
For me, it's extension. I know you're about to say that, Rich, because usually I heard the word sign come out of your mouth. So yeah, I mean he's quarterback 16 for me as well. And if he signed an extension, which all reports are they're looking to extend him at this point, which it makes a lot of sense. Once we get our eyes on that contract, is this thing a real 4-year deal? If it is, then yeah, he starts going up because at that point they found their guy. They've locked him up. They believe in him. There's tons of weapons. That's a great offense. Then I can feel really good about his long-term value. Then he starts going above guys. I could see him going above Caleb Williams in my rank, who at this point will be like, he'll probably slide down to 13, and Jayden Daniels might go up to 13, and bump Caleb Williams down to 14.
Daniel Jones, I mean, not Jayden Daniels.
Oh, what did I say? Sorry. Yeah. Jayden Daniels is way higher than Daniel Jones.
He switched on.
Yeah,
yes, I did.
For me, like, it's going to be a hard path for him to get into my top 12. Like, if I'm being realistic, it's going to be like he'll be in that same tier and he's going to hover right around there. Because even though, like, say he does it just this year, even though he signs the extension, like, for him to get there, like, probably has to be, like, elite next year as well for him to get up there. But then we'll have another rookie quarterbacks and people will get hurt. So we'll see. Like, but again, essentially he becomes like Brock Purdy for me. But he's just a little bit, again, he's older.
Yeah.
He'll be, going into next year, he'll be 29 years old, which again, it's not too old. So he gets that 4-year deal. It depends. Like if he gets a 5-year deal, at $40 million a year, $45 million a year, $50 million, and like half of it's guaranteed, like, yeah, he'll move up significantly because I love the offense he's in. And it's money as it speaks. And Tyler Warren's there.
And we'll see where he finishes too. Right now tied for quarterback 7.
Yeah.
But if he finishes the year at quarterback 4, as opposed to finishing at quarterback 11, that feels a lot different.
And I'll say that the hindrance there too, the way the offense runs is they just don't run a lot of plays in that offense. They run the ball a lot. Like when it comes to actually like attempts, like I don't have it in front of me, but I guarantee Daniel Jones against these top guys is probably the lowest in attempts as well. So like they just also, that offense doesn't like, it's not a like throw the ball a ton offense, unfortunately, as well. So that
Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson obviously has less. But other than that, everyone else has more.
Okay.
Oh, Drake May actually has less as well.
Okay, and that makes sense too for the team that's around him as well for where he is. But
it's just because he scores on every play.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They run a slower offense and they run a little bit more. That's all too as well. That's another
thing. Score a touchdown on every play. You only need 7 plays,
but still high. I mean, I think he's still like I would say right now, if you went to a startup, he probably has some of the most he's probably one of the most valuable assets in a startup or trade today.
Absolutely. All right. Well, before we get into our running backs here, let me remind you guys about Fast Draft. Look, it has been a partner all year long for us for a reason. It is an amazing place to play that best ball that you're wanting to play. We had all the stuff in the offseason, but now we've got our in-season games. Quick 6 Super Slam or Flex 6 Frenzy tournaments. These are guaranteed prize pools, and you can profit $300 on just a single $5 entry. Best of all, if you put in whatever amount you put in up to $100, they're going to double it. So you're getting double your money. And then on top of that, Dynasty Nerds is going to give you a free year of our everything, our annual membership, our Dynasty Nerds annual membership. That's a $70 value, absolutely free. We just added the Data Hub on top of that as well. And look, if you're already a member, we're going to give you a $25 gift card. If you want a hat like Rich is sporting right now, you want a hoodie, you want a t-shirt, whatever it is, you can head over there, use your $25 gift card towards the purchase of that as well. So head to Fast Draft. Use promo code NERDS. That's promo code NERDS at Fast Draft. And let's turn this expertise into cash. So let's get into our running backs now. We got our top 12 wide receiver or quarterbacks done. Let's get to our top 3 running backs. And I don't think we need to spend a ton of time at the top. 1 and 2, it's Bijan and Gibbs, or Gibbs and Bijan for all of us, right?
Correct.
Okay. So we're good there. I have Bijan and then Gibbs. And then for me at 3 is Ashton Jeanty. Who do you guys have at 3?
HN.
Okay. I have Jeanty as
well. Okay. So Rich, where do you have Ashton Jeanty?
Right behind him at 4. Like literally.
Okay.
And 13th overall player, HN, 14th overall Jeanty tier. Like same thing. Like I think that's like obviously with superflex quarterbacks, we're way more in depth talking. Like this, we're going to be a little bit more coasting because I think we're going to be talking tiers. Like, let's find some guys that we don't have in our top 12, but like in guys that aren't even close behind them. But yeah, for me, like you guys have HN right behind Jeanty.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, and for me, it's just the way HN wins, right? Like he's so heavily involved in the passing game. Like I do think he's like the next Alvin Kamara, where he's going to give you those like high end points, those 22 points, 20 points, like year in, year out. Like that's where he wins. He's explosive and he's such a good route runner and he's used so highly in the passing game. That's why like I feel just way more comfortable on a week in, week out basis. Right now, as it stands today, if I had to flip a coin, I'm taking HN probably, 6.5 times out of 10 over Jeanty because like I feel way more comfortable about like his guaranteed points every single week.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's a tier. It's those the first 2 guys and then the next 2 guys are a tier. I would maybe put the 3rd guy in the tier with them, and that's Omarion Hampton. That's who I have at 5. But it could go either way. It's very close for me.
Did you just 6-7 that?
I did 6-7. I mean, this didn't used to mean 6-7, but it does mean that now.
Yes. It does mean that.
He's as Serrano from Major League. No marbles.
Where do you guys have Hampton?
5. Same spot as you.
Okay.
So for me, I have Hampton at 6, and the player
way different.
Yeah, the player I have at 5 is Jonathan Taylor, and the dude has just been going berserk. You know what I mean? I had him lower to start the season, obviously, and what he's been doing is just phenomenal. I have a hard time getting him up in that tier of the first 4 guys that we're talking about because he's 26. He'll be 27 this year. Mm-hmm. There is a cliff coming for him, but what he's doing, I mean, it could be another 2 or 3 years of what we're seeing, the way guys are playing nowadays. And just the physical specimen that Jonathan Taylor is. So that's why I have him at 5. Hampton, obviously, we've seen so little of. He gets the injury. We'll see what he looks like. He looked great. We'll see what he looks like when he comes back. So that's why I was able to get Jonathan Taylor kind of ahead of Hampton at this point in my ranks.
And no argument from me. Again, it's just, and again, if you're going to live in a 2-3 year window on running backs, like, same tier, like no argument whatsoever for Jonathan Taylor ahead of those guys. Honestly, if you took Jonathan Taylor ahead of Ashton Jeanty, I wouldn't do it, but I wouldn't be like, oh, that's a bad pick. Like, he's not a bad, like, you don't take Jonathan Taylor at any point and go, oh, that's a bad pick.
Right.
Yeah.
It's always a good, always a good grab.
I will say, Garrett, like we talked about this before about like Saquon, this metric, like the only thing that concerns me is he's this year's Saquon. And like, sure. I told you I wasn't worried about that metric before when we talked about Saquon at the end of the year. Like, aren't you worried about these running backs that get all these touches, that do all this, and next year they always have a bad year? I'm like, no, I'm not worried about that. Like, that sounds like not a good stat. But here we are with Saquon. So like, that's the one thing in the back of my head I'm going, oh man, like I hope that doesn't happen again. But like 2 number 1 overall running back finishes is like hard to argue.
Yeah. No, I mean, the guy's playing like an absolute stud. I have him 1 spot lower at 6, so I just have Hampton and Taylor switched from you, Matt, but I have them in the same tier. Do you have Taylor at 6, or do you have him a little bit lower?
Oh, I have him right there. Yeah, I have him right there.
Okay. So we all have basically a top 6 exactly the same, except for there might be one guy switched for another in all of our rankings. So top 6, pretty seamless. I think 7 through 12 is where it gets a little bit more interesting. So sure. I'll go with my 7, 8, 9. And even as I'm saying it, I'm still questioning slightly. But I have Quinshon Judkins at 7. I have James Cook at 8 and Christian McCaffrey at 9. Rich, what do you have?
All right. Again, won't argue that, but I have Quinshon Judkins, Breece Hall, Bucky Irving.
Okay.
Bucky just missed for me, and it feels gross that he did. How about that?
I think it's recency bias with him not playing. You know, like again, Rashad White looks pretty good. He's only 23 and he catches the ball well. That's why. You know, like that's why him and James Cook are like equals to me. But like I just trust Bucky in the passing game more. But even though James Cook's averaging 6 yards per carry,
yeah, James Cook is going nuts. So for me, I have at 7, I've got Breece Hall, then TreVaughn Henderson at 8, and then at 9, Saquon Barkley.
Henderson. High.
Yeah, what'd you say?
Yeah, the highest on Henderson.
I am the highest on Henderson, and it's because I don't think we've seen them kind of unleash Henderson yet. We just kind of got a small glimpse of it this past week, and I think as the season goes on, hopefully that becomes more of a thing. Obviously, Breece Hall did amazing stuff this past week as well.
All year.
What'd you say?
He's been good all year.
He has been good all year. Yeah, I was going to say, but he's been solid all year. He's only 24 years old. So
he's a guy I feel like I'm too low on. Like he's the one guy I feel like I'm the lowest on, like Breece Hall, like he'd be in the tier by myself after. Well, I have Quinshon and Jonathan Taylor. I think Breece Hall would be in a tier by himself because I would take him over Bucky, Cook, TreVaughn, Barkley, McCaffrey every single time.
Yeah.
He's going to be somewhere better for sure. Like he's either going to get traded or do it in the offseason for sure.
Right. Absolutely. So Breece Hall is a guy that I think we could see a huge bump in his value come this offseason, like you were mentioning, Rich. He's probably going to be on a different team.
It's only really been this week that's been great for him. Everything else has been like solid. He's had a couple like 16, 17 point games, but he's had just as many 5 and 7
metrics wise, so, like his usage and what he's able to do without his opportunity.
Sure.
Again, I'm not talking, let me reframe that. It's not about like, again, from fantasy points data, like his metrics are all still elite. Like he's one of elite metrics and he's so good. He's one of the best pass catcher running backs in the league. And again, I mean, Pacheco with that injury, what if he gets traded to the Chiefs? Like what scenario where do you put Breece Hall if he goes to the Chiefs and they trade for, like, you know, like, I would take him ahead of Quinshon. I would probably take him ahead of Hampton. I would take him ahead of him and Taylor are now equals. You know what I mean? Like if
he would be at 6 for me. He would be above Hampton. He's only at 7. He would go up one spot, but he would definitely get a bump in value.
And remember,
it could go higher.
And the Chiefs, when Josh Jacobs over a year last summer, the Chiefs aggressively tried to sign Josh Jacobs aggressively. So like,
I just hope one of these days, all these players we keep trying to put on the Chiefs actually goes.
Dude, I just feel like he's a guy. Like I feel like I do. In my gut, I feel like I have him too low. And what's an overpay today is underpaid tomorrow. I think this is like the last value. Again, only being 24, just turned 24 as well.
Mike Gesicki would look.
Where did you have him?
Mike Gesicki would look really good, and
still possible. Matt, don't be a double downer out there.
Matt, where did you say you had Breece? I missed it.
Breece had him at 7.
Okay.
So my guys, my 10, 11, 12 are basically yours 7, 8, 9. Garrett, you had Quinshon, Cook, and then McCaffrey, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That was. I'm gonna give it a little free preview. That's my 10, 11, 12. So I have those guys just slightly lower than you.
And I got Cook, TreVaughn, McCaffrey right after Bucky. Like so again, this is like we're all pretty like splitting hairs, and that's why I want to kind of focus on Breece because like he's a guy I think like a lot of these guys like Cook's not going any higher. Right, like he's at you would say Cook's at peak value. Bucky could probably go a little bit higher. Obviously, TreVaughn go higher. Jonathan Taylor's not going higher. Right, like he's not going higher. So like Breece has
McCaffrey will go down if anything.
And let me ask you this one because this is a kind of hotbed. You know, we do have a lot of similar guys. Where do you guys have Cam Skadbu? And did you have him higher?
Out of my top 12.
I was going to say, did you have him higher? Because I did. I had him in my top 12, and I had to take him out because of that gruesome injury, man.
Yeah. But like I told Garrett earlier, we did a show. Was it yesterday, Garrett? When we did our show, I was like, I hear the medical. Like the medical said, like he should be fine. He should be good to go next year. Is what it said. Like,
I'm at 14. Like I didn't drop him super duper low or anything like that, but he was in my top 12.
I got him at 19. But like I'll probably rue the day, just like when on the draft day where I have him too low. But like again, he is a little bit older. It wasn't like that was a gruesome injury, and like that's not a guaranteed comeback. Like just because I fixed it, like injury would be the same. Like it's not guaranteed. So like I have him at 19, but like I think that's a consensus worry. Like if you're in a startup, like I have my like 89th overall player. Like I feel like if you did it like in the offseason, that's where he would kind of go. And like maybe I would reach for him like ahead of other guys. So I have Javonte Williams ahead of him, Kyron Williams. Like Kenneth Walker, I would definitely still take ahead of him. RJ Harvey, I would. Josh Jacobs, I would. And Saquon. That's it. Like outside of that, again, it's not like he's like super low. Like, you know what I mean? Those other guys, like he's above like everybody else. He's ahead of Derrick Henry, J.K. Dobbins, Chase Brown.
I have him at 16, and he's my 66th overall player.
Okay.
In Superflex tight end premium.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm different from you guys. Like I start to fade the running back a little bit more, like in that range. Like I have the tight ends a little bit higher, and I have like probably more quarterbacks higher.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I don't know if I told you guys my 10, 11, 12, but it falls into a similar range as you guys. I have TreVaughn, Bucky, Breece. So I think I'm the lowest on Breece overall. I feel like I want to put him ahead of Bucky and TreVaughn, but I'm having a hard time with all three of those guys, honestly. Like TreVaughn is such a difficult player for me to rank right now because the ceiling feels like, okay, let's put him right behind Gibbs. But
did you see him?
Like he shouldn't be in our top 24. Like
right. Did you see like when he runs the ball, he's gaining chunks, man. Like they need to get him more involved. I think that's going to come around. Yes, he's not in a rhythm. You can see when he gets like 3 or 4 carries in a row on a drive, he's picking up huge chunks. He looks great. It's only a matter of time before kind of everything falls into place there because he's the most talented back on that roster, and it's not even close. You know what I mean?
I'll give you guys a name that I have at running back 14, 59th. But again, my running backs are like 56, 57, 58, 59, literally like that. So he's in the same tier. Is Josh Jacobs. You know, like literally outside 1 year and for the Raiders, he's like running back 4 to running back 8 every single year. Like the most probably like underrated running back like in fantasy over like the last 8 years. Like it's just so consistent. Running back 1, championship caliber player, but never mentioned in like that super elite category because he's never like running back 1 overall. But like, man, he's a year younger than Saquon in a good offense. He's almost 2 years younger than Christian, right? Like he's only a little over a year. He's a year and 7 months older than James Cook, but he's more viable in the passing game. Like and he shows no sign of slowing down whatsoever. So like
the one thing that actually got him a slight bump down for me, because I had him at 14 and he got bumped down to 17 for me.
Oh, wow.
Which does feel too low. It's hard because Javonte is 2 years younger and performing at the same level. Kyron's 2 years younger, performing at the same level. Saquon, like, and then so it's like him or Scattaboo, basically.
Oh, Javonte over Josh Jacobs. That's a bold situation right there, my friend.
Is it? I mean, he's
just me personally, I guess. I mean,
again, he's 2 years younger and put up the same point.
He's not under contract, and that's doesn't mean he's not going to be. But like we've seen, like we remember we kind of talked about this with like another show, Garrett. I was like, man, like he's like J.K. Dobbins looks really good. He's bouncing around like a pinball too. You know what I mean? Like
he hasn't put up these numbers though. He was putting up like 14, 15. I'm
with you. Like I still like I need to for me to move him ahead of a guy like Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Christian. Like I need to contract. I'm sorry. Like it's
the interesting thing was the end of that game against Pittsburgh, and it could just be a 1 week anomaly thing. But Emmanuel Wilson was getting a lot of run like at the end of the game, and he had like 10 carries for 90 yards and a touchdown or something like that. And he was like getting the ball at the end, like. And I was trying to see, I didn't see anything about an injury. So like, it was weird. So I don't know.
Bringing in those fresh legs. That's it, man. Crying that game out.
Yeah, he was hurt. He was, remember, like he almost didn't play. Like he was questionable going in the game. Like he had that calf injury going into the game.
Okay.
Like
so maybe that's what it was.
He was a game time decision and he still looked good. So he was hurt. He had that calf injury, only got rushed 13 times for 33 yards, got no goal line carry, which saved him. He was hurt going in there. It was a true 50-50 he was going to play. Like they told him too, like he urged, like he said he wanted to play. Like they kind of recommended that he didn't play that week. So I just wanted to put that out there too. Like he didn't.
That makes sense because I didn't see anything after the game about like he got pulled due to an injury, but that makes sense going in. So they might have said like, hey, Emmanuel Wilson's playing well. Just you're good, bro. So that must have been it. But yeah, he is a really tough one. But it's nice to see this be the discussion and the debates that we're having. Because it felt like just a year or two ago, like the guys that we were debating at 11 and 12 are guys that we're now debating at 15, 16, 17.
Or not even in the
like
league. Or not even valuable at all. Like Alvin Kamara out the window. Like go back 3 years ago,
we just didn't have as many 3 down or high profile running backs. Like it feels like that is starting to make a bit of a comeback.
But always that stuff's happened. Again, go back and you look at, like you said, Javonte was an up and coming stud. Nick Chubb 3 years ago. Look where Nick Chubb was ranked 3 years ago before that gruesome knee injury. Javonte, where Alvin Kamara was 3 years ago, we still put up elite numbers. Guys in that caliber, you know what I mean? Like that are actually producing week in, week out. That's why I'll fade some of these guys a little bit because it's such a fickle position. I mean, it doesn't matter. And that's what sucks about this is like age doesn't really matter as much for running backs. Like it's a big boost when you get these young guys on rookie contracts. We talk about that, but like again, a Cam Scatterboom can go down at any point with a gruesome injury. Like they're the highest prone players to go down with a really bad injury and get hurt. So that's what just like that's why running backs we preach it. We preach it, Matt, for 12 years. Like the last piece of the puzzle really should be like the running back. Outside of those like elite guys who are like
I don't know if that's true anymore though. Like you look at the running backs and look at all the receivers that are hurt.
Garrett, I think we just proved the point now. I think we're just talking about the point now, like how big the tier is once we get past like Jonathan Taylor. You know what I mean? Like I think that's like
I was talking about the injuries though. Like,
yeah, but like
I'm not as worried about the injuries at running back as like I think the perceived notion on that. Because when you look at receiver, like right now, I'm struggling on teams to like have a receiver to start, and I have plenty of running backs.
Two counterpoints to that's going to validate this is one, higher chance to come back successful after injury receiver. Two, literally probably 100 times more likely to get a better extension are receivers. Again, we talk about J.K. Dobbins. Like right now, the NFL just doesn't value these guys, as they used to. So like these guys aren't really getting the contracts that we really. I mean, James Cook was a last second guy who got in there, but like for the most part, these guys like they get cut loose at like 27, 28 years old.
I think we're saying different things. I was speaking just like injury proneness is really all I was talking about.
And it's also easier to replace a running back. Like it's easier to go out there and trade for like a Rico Dowdle. It's easier to go trade for a Ja'Cory. You know what I mean? Like it's easier to go get a running back that's going to help you.
He doesn't care what my point was. He just wants
not at all. Yes.
I'm sick. I'm infected with a virus. That's curable. But like my brain's not 100%, Garrett.
It's all
It's
good. It's all good.
It's a virus hosts thing going on right now. It has nothing to do with you, Garrett.
Can I ask you guys one before we get out of here? I'm
Sure.
curious. Where do you have Caleb Johnson ranked?
Ooh, hold on.
He's running back 25 for me.
Yeah, I got to scroll down for sure. Hold on.
Pretty low.
I have him at 33.
Yeah, I feel like that's too high. 25. Like I have him behind, like ahead of like Tyler Spears, Tyrone Tracy, David Montgomery, Jalen Warren.
I can't find him.
Oh wow,
33, and I might need to move him down.
Yeah, I think I do too. Abracadabra, Caleb. I just like it's just okay. We'll see.
He's still a good throw-in. Still a good throw-in on a trade.
Yeah. All right.
Oh wait, where did you guys have him?
20.
I had him at 33.
Running back 25.
Yeah, I actually am at 33 as well. Yep, I finally found him.
There we go.
I have Rico Dowdle at 33, and I would probably rather have Rico Dowdle today than Caleb Johnson. So, and Tyrone Tracy behind him. That's fair. I want Tyrone Tracy over him too. Okay. Trey Benson might be back this week.
That was a good sign that they cut Michael Carter.
Yeah.
And they re-signed him to the practice squad, but that kind of shows like, all right, move over. Like, this is our guy. Like, it's a good sign.
All right. You guys want to talk receivers and tight ends tomorrow?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
I got to bed early tonight. Come on. I'm sick. Be respectful.
Adios.